You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neil, and this is our part 3 of our Disney trivia. So welcome if this is the first time you've heard it. We would recommend going to parts 1 and 2 before listening to this, but if you are a new listener, we do have a normal Tuesday release of hour-long weekly trivia episodes, so feel free to check those out. We'd love to have you as listeners, but for the time being, you're here for Disney trivia. So we have 2 competitors left. We have Katie DeWall and George Raub, who are joining us over Skype for a final. We had 8 competitors. It's down to 2. We're really excited to continue and finish this game, but before we do that, just want to say hello to my co-host, Jeff. How's it going, Jeff?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Neil?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for joining us. It's been a very hard-fought competition here with Disney Trivia. How would you have done if you were just doing this kind of blindly?
I'm very impressed by our contestants. I would not do very well. I feel like I know Disney, but these are some good questions. Yeah,
they are. There's fun questions. And actually, this episode, the final, is going to be filled with a few questions from the competitors who unfortunately perished. So everyone submitted a couple questions, and we're going to use some of those today, which we're excited about. Before we get started and I introduce our 2 contestants here, Jeff, any fond Disney memories? Have you been to Disneyland and or World?
Yeah, here's a story I have never shared on the podcast. So I've been to both Disneyland and Disney World when I was younger. I think I was like 6 when I went to Disneyland, and I'd have been about 10, 11 when I went to Disney World. My only memory, because I was so young from Disney World, is I bought a hat, a Mickey Mouse hat, and I left it on a ride. I sat on it so it wouldn't blow off. And I went back 10 minutes after I realized I lost it, and it was gone. And I've never worn a hat since. So
any hat whatsoever?
No, well, I don't look good in hats, but that's beside the point. I didn't know that when I was 6.
Oh, well, it's so weird because I've seen you in my alley in a fedora smoking and saying weird, 1930s language stuff. So
I'm snapping all the time.
Yeah, you're always snapping. Well, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I went to Disney World once when I was younger. I had broken my thumb playing Australian football, and so I had to wear a stint or whatever they call it, and I covered my hand with a plastic bag to go into the water parks. But when we went to Disney World, I had walked around to get autographs. They had these little plastic autograph books or whatever. And I remember getting a few of them, and I brought them back to my parents, and I said, "Oh, look, I got Goofy's autograph and Jafar." And they said, "No, you didn't. Those are just scribbles." And I said, No, really, it's their autograph. I'm not making this up. And then I took them to Jafar, and because they were in large costumes, their hands were so big, mascot hands, so they couldn't really autograph anything, but they did. It just looked like a really bad lie detector test. But yeah, that was a fond memory, and then I got to perform there as well in choir, which was a lot of fun. But,
yeah, I forgot. I knew that.
Yeah, so we were there for senior year of high school. But let's introduce our competitors. You met them the previous 2 episodes, so you know a little bit about them. But I'm going to ask them each what their favorite either Disney memory, if they've been to Disney World or Disneyland, or just any memory regarding Disney is. So let's start with George Raub. You were the victor of the first episode. How's it going?
It's great. How are you?
Doing well. So for those that maybe haven't heard before, where are you coming to us from? And yeah, tell us about a Disney memory of any kind.
I'm coming to you today from Tampa, Florida, so just down the road from Walt Disney World, and so been there a bunch. But if I had to pick just kind of one thing, it was a Disney cruise. Got to take my kids, and just really good kind of family bonding time, and everybody enjoyed it. So super fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like anything Disney puts their hand into, obviously movies, theme parks, cruises, it's bound to be a good time, it seems like. And our second competitor is Katie DeWall. You were victorious in episode 2 or part 2. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and a Disney memory of any kind?
All right, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the first time I went, or first and only time I went to Disneyland, I was 9, and I just remember getting there and seeing Sleeping Beauty's castle for the first time. That's kind of the most vivid memory I have of it.
That's awesome, and I think they're redoing or fixing that castle at one of the locations, right?
Not sure.
I saw a picture of it. They had a huge cranes on it. I've never seen anything actually being worked on at Disney. It always just kind of appears, when you go. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. And this should be a fun final episode. Jeff and I will be asking the questions. There are some harder ones here, but I think they're gettable. And then, like I said, we're going to include some of the questions from the competitors that we lost, who are Taylor Cook, James Conger, Emily Camerano, Haley Stroik, and one competitor who actually wasn't able to join us today, unfortunately, and that is Wesley Wells. He also gave us 2 questions, so we're going to use some of those. So, all right, without further ado, if you haven't been listening, it's going to be 15 straight questions, and person with the most points wins. So let's start with question 1. The Great Mouse Detective follows a crime-solving mouse with a Sherlock Holmes persona who shares a name with what herb?
Locked in.
I'm locked in.
All right. Katie, what do you have?
It's basil.
And George?
Basil. Yep.
And that is correct. Basil, however you want to say it, but that is correct.
Probably not that way.
Probably not that way, though. Jeff, feel free to take number 2.
All right, question 2. Disney may have had success with Black Panther, but in 2000 they utilized black jaguars as minor antagonists in what film?
I can only think of one Disney film in the year 2000, and it is surely not the right one, but I'm going to go ahead and just lock in with it.
I'll lock in too.
All right, let's start with George.
The only thing I can think of with that is Emperor's New Groove.
And Katie.
I put dinosaur.
And the correct answer to that is The Emperor's New Groove.
Nice.
Nice poll. All right, this next one, I'm not sure how hard this is. I asked this at a different trivia event, so I don't know if it's hard, but we'll see. All I'm looking for is the time that is on the White Rabbit's watch throughout Alice in Wonderland. So the rabbit is always running late in Alice in Wonderland, and what time is always on his watch?
Yeah, I'll guess 2.
All right, Katie, what do you have?
I just put 5 o'clock.
Okay, and George?
1:15.
All right, no one got it, but kind of close, George. The answer is 12:25.
I switched that longhand and shorthand, I see.
Yes, exactly. So it's always 12:25.
All right, question 4. In Finding Nemo, what is the full address of Dr. Philip Sherman? All right, let's start with George.
It's P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
And Katie?
I guess this was a good guess. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
Yep, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, Australia is correct. So you'll both be getting points.
I wrote that question. I don't even think I could remember that after writing it, so kudos to you. Okay, so this next question, question 5, is one of my favorites. It was actually a visual question that we had on a chalkboard, but the question is still the same. It's a fun one. So this is going to be Disney math. I want you to take the number of eggs Gaston eats when he's fully grown, so when he's an adult, minus Ariel's age in The Little Mermaid, times the number of singing muses who narrate Hercules.
All right, I'll lock in.
Okay. Katie, what do you have?
I couldn't think of the eggs. I thought it was like 5 dozen, so my answer is 220.
Okay. And George?
324.
All right. Well, one person is getting points. It was 5 dozen eggs, which is 60, minus 16 years old, times 5 muses equals 220. So points for Katie.
Good job.
Thank you.
So after 5 questions, it's all tied up. 30 points.
Question 6. In Moana, what kind of tattoo ink does Grandma Tala have? And I guess we're specifically looking for the type of tattoo, like what it is.
Oh, I'm gonna lock in with a guess. You said just kind of tattoo, not the ink.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, just that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll lock in too.
All right, let's start with George.
Ocean waves.
And Katie.
I just put tribal.
All right, so she has a manta ray tattoo.
Oh, okay.
You know, funny, Neil, I've never finished Moana. One of my friends, his daughter loves Moana. And I only ever have seen like the first half of the movie because by the time I get over there in the evenings, because he's one of my friends I play Magic with, she goes to bed. So I never really have seen past the Jermaine Clement singing crab part.
Oh, that's funny.
Same. I've never seen past that. My niece gets bored after that, and then she's done. So we have to move on.
I've seen Moana 10 times, but just the first half 20
That's so
times.
funny.
So,
Okay, question number 7 is actually going to be the first question brought to us by one of our competitors who did not make it to the final. And it is going to be from Haley Stroik. And the question is, what is the only Disney movie where the villain does not appear on screen?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to tap.
Okay, George is tapping. And what do you think, Katie?
I went with Bambi.
And the character of Man was from Bambi and did not go on screen. That's correct.
all right, another one from Haley. Thank you, Haley. What is the name of Ursula's sister?
No.
All right, we'll start with you, George.
Susan. I got it.
And Katie.
I just put Medusa.
A little closer. What was your hint going to be, Neil?
That the name of this character rhymes with another famous Disney character.
It does. The correct answer is Morgana.
All right. Number 9. Who is the only performer to win an Academy Award for acting in a Walt Disney production?
I'll lock in.
Okay. Katie?
I just put Dick Van Dyke.
All right. And George?
Dick Van Dyke.
You were close. The right film, but it was Julie Andrews for Mary Poppins.
Oh, I didn't think she won. That's my bad.
All right, question number 10 is courtesy of Emily Caminaro. Thank you, Emily. What town is Main Street, USA in Disney's Magic Kingdom based off of?
I'm locked in.
All right, what'd you say, Katie?
Is it like Geyser Springs?
All right, George?
It's Walt Disney's hometown of Marceline, Missouri.
And the correct answer is Marceline, Missouri.
I thought it was like based on Cars for some reason.
It's a great point there. Great poll. And I believe Marceline is also the town in Lady and the Tramp, too.
Mm-hmm.
Marceline, Missouri. All right, so after 10 questions, it's all tied up, 40-40. So you guys are neck and neck here. Okay, so going to question 11. Question 11 is also going to be from Emily Camerano. And the question is, which official Disney princess is not part of a royal family by birth or marriage?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
All right, let's start with Katie.
I went with Mulan.
And George.
Yep, Mulan.
Mulan is correct.
All right. Question 12 comes to us courtesy of James Conger. Which ride is at every Disney theme park? All right, George, what did you say on that one?
It's a Small World.
And Katie?
I put the same thing. It's a Small World.
All right, and so the ride that appears at every Disney theme park is Dumbo, the flying elephant.
All right, question 13. If I was watching a Disney film and turned on my Shazam app and it told me that I was listening to Hidgetus Fidgetus, what film would I be watching?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
All right, Katie?
Sword in the Stone.
And George?
Sword in the Stone.
And Sword in the Stone is correct.
Question 14. What two Disney films had the original titles of The Bear and the Bow and High Score?
I think I'm going to tap on that one. I cannot think of anything.
All right, George?
Brave and Wreck-It Ralph.
Brave and Wreck-It Ralph are correct answers.
Nice.
Okay, and for our final and 15th question, depending on if we need a tiebreaker or not, it's going to come to us from Taylor Cook. And Taylor asks, what iconic artist provided the singing voice for Dodger in the 1988 Disney film Oliver and Company?
I'm locked in.
All right, Katie?
I put Billy Joel.
And George?
Donny Osmond.
And the correct answer, bringing us to a tiebreaker, is Billy Joel. All right, so we are tied at 70-70. This has been a great final duel here between Katie and George. We have 3 final questions for our final round. We're going to do best out of 3. And we're going to start with question 1, which comes to us from Wesley Wells. Wesley, thank you for sending this in. We know you weren't able to make the recording, but we appreciate you sending in the questions. So here it is. In Beauty and the Beast has a real name from when he was a prince. What is it?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
All right. Katie?
I have Prince Adam.
And George?
I also have Prince Adam.
And you are both correct. 1 for 1.
All right, your second tiebreak question here is going to be courtesy of Taylor Cook. In the Lizzie McGuire movie, what concert venue do Lizzie and Isabella play at the end of the movie?
I have a guess. I have, and that's what is so bad about this. I have a guess.
All right, we'll start with you, George.
The Forum.
And Katie?
I just put the Coliseum.
All right, and your correct answer is the Roman Colosseum.
All right, so that's points for Katie, and no points for George, but George can tie it up here. All right, and our third final tiebreaker question here. Ursula, the sea witch in The Little Mermaid, was based on a real-life drag queen / actor / entertainer. What is her name?
Sadly, I don't think I have an answer.
So you're going to tap?
I'm going to tap, yeah.
I'll guess.
Okay. What is your guess, George?
All I can think of is RuPaul.
All right. Well, unfortunately, it is not RuPaul. If you are a fan of the films of John Waters, like Pink Flamingos, it is Divine. Divine is the final answer.
Oh, nice.
So from our score here, Katie received 2 correct points out of 3 against George in this finals, which would put Katie as the winner of Disney Trivia. So great job, Katie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good game. Thank you.
That was tough.
That was very tough. George was in 2 tiebreaker finals there, so George, great job on that too.
Mm-hmm.
So as we kind of bid you both adieu, thank you very much for joining us, for supporting us on Patreon. As we said the last few episodes, your support there really helps us keep the show going, to be able to do bonuses like this. If you want to join Katie and George, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast. George, you're kind of close to the action there in Florida. Any final words from you, and any favorite rides at Disney that you can think of?
First, just want to say thanks. This has been a lot of fun. Want to shout out to my son Wade, who listens along and is our unofficial scorekeeper when we play at home. But favorite ride, kind of a toss-up between the Jungle Cruise and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, nice. Are you looking forward to the new Rock movie with Emily Blunt?
I am. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should. It has a very Pirates of the Caribbean vibe to it, which would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Wade. Thank you for scorekeeping for when your dad plays. And I will say Wade is an awesome name. It reminds me of Sam Elliott from Roadhouse, who was awesome in that movie. So
I knew you were going there.
Well, of course. He'll watch it when he's of age. It'll be fine. As they say in the movie, Wade Garrett is the best. But yeah, thank you, George, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Katie, thank you for joining us. Anything you'd like to say? Like you said before, obviously, that you only wanted to play Friends trivia and Disney trivia. So I don't think you were victorious on the Friends trivia, right?
The first one I was. The second one I was not.
That's right.
It has haunted me every day since.
Well, you trained, you lifted weights, you did sprints and whatnot, and you've become the champion of Disney trivia. So yeah, any final words from you?
I guess I have to give a shout out to Hillary Duff, since I won on a Lizzie McGuire question. And then my niece Abby and nephew Olin, so I keep watching these Disney movies. But it was a lot of fun. It was great questions.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us and for kind of sticking with us for a few hours there. Jeff, any final words from you?
No, this was a great series, hard fought by everybody. I thought it was really great, and I'm glad we get to highlight Disney, which is certainly something that has been a favorite of mine for a long time. So.
Yeah, well said. I think for all of you listening who are fans of Disney, thank you for sticking with us here. But if there's any other type of trivia that you'd like to see, sort of a mini series like this, maybe like 3 rounds, let us know. We'd love to do more of these quick hit bonus episodes. But yes, thank you so much to Jeff, Ken, and Matt for being co-hosts. But another big thank you to Katie, George, Emily, James, Jane, Gowdy, Taylor, and Haley for being our contestants. My name is Neil, and we hope you check out our other episodes. We appreciate your support, and that was Triviality.